Music, yeah. Haribol. Haribol Vasyam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyachade Shatarne Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so no one's looking. You're disqualified. Where are we? Where's Prabhupada? Where's Prabhupada? Tell me. Were you here? Tell me, anyone. Huh? Bombay. And they're about to put on this huge, they've just started, huge Pandal program, like a giant tent campaign. Right, okay, so let's see. And also this is like, now it seems, anyway, seems like it's from afterwards, or maybe it's going back and forth in time. And all turned out successful, with 10,000 people attending the first day and 20,000 that night. The devotees, including those just arrived from the West, numbered about 100, and the large stage easily accommodated them, with ample space for dancing kirtans. On stage, within a gorgeous, golden-domed altar, surrounded by profuse flower arrangements, stood Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada's large red Vyasasan, covered by a canopy, stood at stage center. Also on stage was a display of Prabhupada's books. The tall and spacious pandal, built to hold more than 30,000, was lined with fluorescent bulbs, and the stage glowed with colorful, flashing lights. It's India. Anyway, it's not the only place they have colorful, flashing lights. The program was kirtan, prasadam, a lecture and slides, more kirtan and more prasadam. And the Bombayites, devotees at heart, despite their sophistication and westernization, loved these very things. Radha and Krishna, kirtan and prasadam. And that all this was being presented by Westerners made the pandal especially attractive. The cooks prepared prasadam at the pandal site, cooking over a hard coal fire and using big paddles to stir khichdi and halava in woks 8 feet across. Yeah. Each night the devotees would serve thousands of plates. Prabhupada's appearance in the evening was always the high point. He would sit on his Vyasasan. Little Saraswati would walk out and garland him, and the crowd would cheer. He would wait for the crowd to quieten, which never happened. So he would just begin speaking, his voice ringing over the powerful sound system. He titled his first lecture, "Modern Civilization is a Failure, and the Only Hope is Krishna Consciousness." Prabhupada sat, eyes half closed in concentration, addressing the largest audience that had ever assembled to hear him. His speaking was particularly forceful as he glorified Krishna and criticized the enemies of Krishna. He spoke against governments that were not Krishna conscious and against gurus who neglected the worship of Krishna. He stressed the necessity of teaching Krishna's message to the whole world, while his godbrothers from the Bombay Gaudiya Math sat in the audience, listening respectfully. Quote, "And you are practically seeing that all over the world these Bhagavad Gita principles, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is being accepted. All these boys and girls who are dancing in Krishna consciousness, 4 years ago, 4 years back, they never heard of Krishna. Of course, some of them knew Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is very widely read. But because Bhagavad Gita was not properly presented, although for the last 100 or 200 or more than that years, Bhagavad Gita is widely read all over the world, there was not a single Krishna Bhakta. But since Bhagavad Gita is being presented as it is, within 4 years, there are hundreds and thousands of Krishna Bhaktas. That is our point, that you present the thing as it is, without any adulteration. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's a fact. I had partially read a Bhagavad Gita. Probably, I was probably 18 or 19. I think it was Dr. Radhakrishnan's. Anyway, yeah, I think it was his one. And I couldn't really figure it out, to tell you the truth. So I didn't read the whole thing. And Prabhupada did make that point, that so many versions of Bhagavad Gita are available in English, but not one of them made one devotee of Krishna. Whereas actually the book is for making people into devotees of Krishna. That's what it is. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's all because the translators, commentators, they're not presenting it as it is. Okay. So it is our mission. It is India's culture. People are hankering after this culture, Krishna culture. So you should prepare yourself to present Bhagavad Gita as it is. Then India will conquer all over the world by this Krishna culture, rest assured. But we are hankering after help from others. Our government men go there in America. Please give us wheat. Please give us money. Please give us soldiers. Simply begging business. But here is a thing which you can give them. Simply begging does not glorify your country. Whew, that's true. As a dyed-in-the-wool Westerner, I can say that when I was young, say before the Beatles and they got into it, and then, that affected things significantly. But before that, like in my early teens, India was, let us just say, not taken seriously at all. Really. Oh, yeah. Right, yes. Giriraj, Prabhupada was preaching forcefully to the people of Bombay, and every evening the pandal was packed with at least 20,000 people. Srila Prabhupada would preach so strongly, emphasizing following religious principles. He knew that these people are Hindus, but they are not following these principles. Prabhupada was speaking so powerfully that I knew that what he was saying would be hard for many of the audience to accept. And then back to Prabhupada speaking. We have something to give to the whole world. That is Krishna consciousness. Why you neglect this treasure of Vedic knowledge? And the summarized knowledge is Bhagavad Gita. So if we simply try to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, we understand immediately the science of God. And because we're all parts and parcels of God, we're actually hankering after uniting with God. That is our seeking. Anandamayo Bhyasat. God is Anandamaya, by nature full of pleasure. And we, being part and parcel of God or Krishna, we're also Anandamaya, but we're seeking Ananda, pleasure, in a different atmosphere, in the material atmosphere. Therefore we are being baffled. The only remedy is that you take to Krishna consciousness and you'll be happy. So it is the duty of every Indian to understand this science. Giriraj, at that time I was thinking that if Prabhupada had wanted to flatter the audience or compromise his philosophy, he could have attracted millions of followers. But because he was preaching so boldly and forcefully without compromise, many of the audience did not like it, because it was a challenge to their sense gratification and to their sentiment. And Prabhupada continues, this is a science. It is not a dogmatic bluffing thing. It is a science, and spoken by the Lord himself, and understood by all the acharyas. Krishna says, acharyo pasanam. We have to understand things through the acharyas. Acharyavan purusho veda. One who is not following the footsteps of the acharyas, he cannot understand anything. Krishna also says, tad vijnanartam. That is said in the Kathopanishad. Tad vijnanartam sagurum evabhigachet. Krishna says, Tadvadi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So everywhere the same instruction is there. You approach a person who is coming in disciplic succession, evam parampara praptam, and try to learn Bhagavad Gita as it is. Your life will be sublime. Your life will be successful. That is our mission. Giriraj, the fact is that people were wild about Prabhupada and ISKCON. One night we showed slides of the Rath Yatra in San Francisco, and the audience was going wild. In front of 10,000 people, Prabhupada announced that we will hold Jagannath Rath Yatra in Bombay, and everyone started to cheer and applaud. Day after day, the Pandal festival was a success. Bombay's most important citizens came and were impressed. White-shirted businessmen and their well-groomed wives joined in the chanting. For hundreds of thousands of Bombay citizens coming to the Cross Maidan to attend an evening Pandal program was easy enough. Some were intent on listening to the lecture and inquiring deeply into devotional service. Others came mostly to see the deity, take prasadam or appreciate the kirtan. In any case, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna devotees were a refreshing addition to the life of the city. It was the biggest public event in Bombay. One evening, Prabhupada conducted a Vedic marriage ceremony and an initiation before thousands of people. The marriage was arranged between Vegavan, who was Swedish, and Padmavati Dasi, who was Australian. They completely enchanted the whole audience. She with her ornate red sari and Indian jewelry, including a nose ring, and he with his nice white dhoti and kurta and clean-shaven head. 6 brahmacharis were initiated at that time also. Giriraj. The audience was impressed. First of all, they were amazed just to see foreign devotees, foreign sadhus. Then on top of that, to see them being initiated, and even more, and even more than that, being married in front of 10,000 people. It was overwhelming. So during the ceremony, as Srila Prabhupada made the boy and girl husband and wife, he mentioned that she was from Australia and he was from Sweden. Then Srila Prabhupada said, "This is the real United Nations." And everyone burst into applause. It was the most glamorous, wonderful program, unquote. The final night of the festival, the devotees carried the deities of Radha and Krishna in a palanquin to the seaside. Prabhupada spoke and held kirtan before a crowd of 25,000. The next day, the Indian Express reported fitting finale to Hare Krishna festival. It was a grand fitting finale to the 11-day Hare Krishna festival, which attracted thousands of devotees at Cross Maidan in South Bombay. The decorated murtis of Radha and Krishna were taken in procession on a regal rath from the venue through Dergaon Road to Chowpatty in the evening. Dozens of Nam Sankirtan mandalas from all over the city spearheaded the procession with loud and ecstatic chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, followed by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in an elegant horse-drawn coach, chanting. Crowds chanted Hare Krishna on the roadsides as the rath was pulled by devotees along the route. I think this is the report from the newspaper, but you can't tell. At Chowpatty, the 4-foot-tall deities, splendidly dressed and decorated with jewels and garlands, were displayed on their magnificent Singhasan, throne, donated to the Hare Krishna movement by Madhav Baug and Mumba Devi temples. During the celebrations, Prabhupada spoke from the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam daily, morning and evening. More than 30 of his foreign disciples conducted kirtan, arti and film shows in the specially erected pandals. I mean, it's all a bit difficult to follow. Prabhupada will deliver his final public message to the citizens before leaving in a few weeks on a preaching tour of the major cities of Russia. Okay. Then this, I think we're just back to the text. Bombayites would not soon forget the Hare Krishna festival, and a letter from Prabhupada to the ISKCON Life members pledged that it had been only the beginning. By the grace of their lordships, Shri Radha and Krishna. So this is now Prabhupada is writing, it looks like. By the grace of their lordships, Shri Radha and Krishna, our recent festival in Cross Maidan exhibition ground has been counted a grand success. And quite noticeably, the spirit of Bhakti has been actively revived in Bombay. My blessings go especially to all of you who have joined with us in service. As you may know, my plan is to establish in this most auspicious city a unique, international, Krishna-conscious training center where hundreds of persons from abroad may be educated in the Vedic way of life, while at the same time Indian boys and girls may be trained up for prachar, preaching work, in foreign countries. We will construct classrooms, workrooms, dormitories, kitchen for large-scale public prasad distribution, a lecture hall, library, and a beautiful temple for the glorification of Radha and Krishna. We are on the threshold of bringing this important project to fruition, and we're very excited to inform you the progress made in this respect. You will agree with me. You will agree with me that your active participation and your direct involvement in this is most essential. And hence I appeal to you to spend your valuable time for Krishna and make it a point, in spite of your extremely busy life, to extend your unstinted cooperation. It is proposed to hold a meeting on Monday the 20, or maybe it's the 2nd, of April 1971 at 6:30. It just says 2 STH, right? What does it say? 26. Oh, it says 26th. Okay. Here it's got 2, then an S, little s. At 6:30 p.m., Akash Ganga, 7th floor, 89, Bullabai Desai Road, Bombay 26, to discuss and finalize plans to channel our united energies to achieve the goal. It will also be a great opportunity for like-minded Krishna devotees to meet, to have darshan of the deities, and to exchange views and suggestions to make rapid progress in spiritual life. I very much want to meet you again, so kindly make it a must to attend our meeting. There is a lot of ground to be covered to spread Krishna consciousness to millions and millions of our slumbering brothers and sisters. Unquote. That so many were accepting ISKCON and the Sankirtan movement as bona fide testified to the purity of Srila Prabhupada's presentation of Lord Krishna's teachings. His teachings were not sectarian. They were meant for everyone all over the world. He was teaching love of Krishna, the universal principle for all humanity. In his lectures at the Pandal, he had lamented that although India was known as the land of religion, where God consciousness had traditionally permeated society, India's leaders were becoming atheists and communists. Whether Indians, polluted by the madness for sense gratification and confused by a hodgepodge of pseudo-religious teachings, could still recognize and adopt the real thing remained to be seen. But at least in Bombay, the Pandal program had had a great effect. Of that, Prabhupada felt satisfied. The program had been the same program he had introduced everywhere: chanting, dancing, taking prasadam, worshipping the deity, hearing about Krishna. It was Lord Chaitanya's program, adapted slightly according to the particular circumstances, but Lord Chaitanya's program nonetheless. This Sankirtan was the only possible remedy for the disease of modern society, yet people were reluctant to take the remedy. Prabhupada therefore had labeled the bottle. The medicine was unchanged, but he had labeled it attractively: a gala evening of entertainment, music and refreshments, featuring the youth of America and Europe, transformed into Vaishnavas. The labeling was simple, non-deceptive. Everyone in Bombay knew well that the Hare Krishna Pandal festival was a product of their own Vedic heritage. They were fully aware that the Hare Krishna leader was a great acharya in the ancient tradition. But it had come to them in such a spectacular and attractive way that they had become caught up in it. Madhu Dvisa. No one really thought Prabhupada was leaving India. In India, Prabhupada was the cutting edge of the whole movement. He was the force. Things were moving because of Prabhupada. In the Western world, Prabhupada would give the idea, and the devotees would expand on it. Prabhupada was the overseer, but he didn't have such an integral, active part in the West. But in India, Srila Prabhupada was right in the thick of it. He was checking the accounts. He was so much involved in the Indian scene that Rishi Kumar, okay, Shi Kumar, the Bombay treasurer, would have to go to Prabhupada every other day and show him the accounts. He was very much involved in everything. The whole movement in India depended on Prabhupada. Because of this, no one thought that Prabhupada would really leave us. Thus ends chapter 33 of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Hare Krishna. Any comment or question? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.